Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be kind of deviating from my original plan a little bit. We're going to be talking about Rockland County in New York in particular. The reason why we're talking about this is Morningstar. Yes, you heard the word Morningstar. I'd launched an investigation. I'd also posted that there's an investigation right now into the Senate result in Rockland County, and also the presidential result in 2024. The reason for this is so significant because Christian Gillibrand got 100% of the vote, or 100 voters in that state, in that county, 100% of the vote. But Trump won 100% of that same voters. The statistical probability of that occurring is slim to zero. Harris got 0 of the Democratic vote, whereas the Republican got 100% of that vote for the presidential, but 100% of those voters went to Christian Gillibrand. So they are investigating in Rockland County currently what has happened and why there's an improbability. Now, we've been talking about this specific county for a very long time on the channel as a very significant indicator for what's going to happen across the country. So now that this investigation is now underway, but if you guys want to go ahead and check out the link to this article, I will put that in the description below and in the comments below if you are interested. But before we do begin, I do want to kind of do a little intro. This video is being recorded on Wednesday, June 4th at 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as of when I am recording this specific video. If you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, watching this video longer than normal, even better yet, sharing this video content with other people really help the channel grow. For a lot of you guys, you have done just that, and YouTube recognizes that. And this is an AI algorithm such as Community Spotlight, which allows me to be able to interact with you guys on a deeper basis. So, for example, we have equal 3333. Thank you for doing just that. This is AI. They take all your statistical data from the past week, your past activity here on this YouTube channel, and they say, okay, these are the people you want to recognize for this week. We have here LaPatty Reese, we have Nancy Dixon, we have Tubby Tube, and Linda Argon. Thank you so much to all of you guys for actively participating, helping the channel grow in some capacity, in some form. If you guys are not on there, do not worry. YouTube at some point have recognized you. I might have just missed it because it updates continuously, but I do this every Monday. But it is Thursday and I have not really recorded much this week, so I want to make sure that I put out there that I appreciate you guys and I love you. Anyway, this video is just for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes only as well. If you want to help out, if you want to be able to be notified when I do post and upload, go into the description or the comment section below of this video and follow my Blue Sky account and my Facebook group, and I will personally notify you there. I do also have a donation link. Do not feel obligated in any particular way to donate. This was recommended by subscribers, but again, do not feel any obligation. I personally don't want you to donate, but if you want to, you can. It's there as an option, but do not in any way feel obligated in any particular fashion to donate. Anyway, beside the point, let's begin. Let's talk about the information in regards to Rockland County. Now, I put the link to this in the description below. This is from Yahoo Finance. I want to kind of like go with an article that wasn't biased, because if it's being investigated by Morningstar or they launched the investigation, it wouldn't make sense to read an article in regards to Morningstar. So we are going to be reading from, and you get it, Yahoo Finance, which is Access Newswire. And they call it Retransmission 2024 Presidential and Senate Results Called into Question as Lawsuit Advances. But this was recorded on Thursday, May 29th at 2:15 p.m. EDT. And it's a 4-minute read. But I'm going to read it to you guys, just so you guys get caught up on what is going on, just to kind of keep up to date. And then we're going to do the reading on there. So New York City, New York. Access Newswire, May 29th, 2025. A seminal case questioning the accuracy of the 2024 presidential and Senate election results in Rockland County, New York, is moving forward. In open court last Thursday, Judge Rachel Tanguay of New York Supreme Court ruled that the discovery must proceed, pushing the lawsuit brought by SMART legislation into the evidence-gathering stage. The lawsuit seeks a full-hand recount of the presidential and the U.S. Senate races in Rockland County. SMART legislation, the action arm of SMART Elections, is the lead plaintiff in the case. Both organizations are dedicated to ensuring fair and accurate elections. Quote, there is clear evidence that the Senate results are incorrect, and there are statistical indications that the presidential results are highly unlikely, stated Lulu Fredat, founder and executive director of Smart Legislation. Quote, if the results are incorrect, it is a violation of the constitutional rights of each person who voted in the 2024 Rockland County general election. The best way to determine if the results are correct is to examine paper ballots in full public. Transparent hand recount of all presidential and Senate ballots in Rockland County. We believe it's vitally important, especially in the current environment, to be absolutely confident about the result of the election. As stated in this complaint, more voters have sworn that they voted for an independent U.S. Senate candidate, Diane Starr, than Rockland County Board of Election counted and certified, directly contradicting those results. Additionally, the presidential election results exhibit numerous statistical anomalies. The anomalies in the presidential race include multiple districts where hundreds of voters chose Democratic candidate Christian Gillibrand for Senate, but where 0 voters selected the Democratic presidential candidate Harris. Additionally, a statistician determined that the 2024 presidential election results were statistically highly unlikely in 4 of the 5 towns in Rockland County when compared with the 2020 results. Max Baudemet, a PhD professor of physics and astronomy at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, and the author of textbook Statistics and Analysis of Scientific Data, says in the upcoming paper in Rockland Data, these data will require extreme sociological or political causes for their explanation and would benefit from further assurance as to their fidelity. Discovery could give both the court and the public a window into what issues Rockland County are contributing to irregularities in the election result. Plaintiff anticipates some deposition as well, because the source of the discrepancy is unknown. A court-ordered recount could alter the election results or reveal issues in other races. So that is where we're at right now. Okay. Oh, we have a lot more information. Okay. So this is so far, these are what's called key findings. It said District 39, Exhibit A. 9 voters signed a sworn statement saying that they cast a ballot for Diane Starr, which we do remember earlier, it was an independent candidate, in the U.S. Senate race. The Rockland County Board of Election recorded just 5 votes, a nearly 50% shortfall. District 62, Exhibit B. 5 voters said that they voted for Starr. The Rockland County Board of Election recorded 3, a 40% deficit. Drop-off irregularities in Rockland County could mean the results are incorrect. Drop-off is a measure of the difference between the presidential candidate and the major down-ballot candidate of the same party. A large positive drop-off indicates an overperformance by a candidate, meaning the candidate received more votes than is typical. A large negative drop-off indicates an underperformance by a candidate, meaning the candidate received fewer votes than is typical and could signify if votes are missing from the candidate's total. Republican drop-off, which equates to 23% of Trump's total in Rockland County, exceeds the 2024 Republican Senate candidate. The high drop-off rate illustrates that the presidential candidate far outperformed his down-ballot counterpart. The Democratic drop-off is negative 9%. 9% of Harris' totals are below the Democratic Senate candidate. This is a highly unusual phenomenon that was repeated across the state and across the county. Rockland County is the first county where it has been formally investigated. So they're saying that in some way that they noted that there is a case of phenomenon across the state of New York. They're asking, why does it matter? Why does this investigation matter? We're going to find out right now. It says here, typical dropout rates run between 1 to 2%. Gaps of 23 or negative 9% are surprising and could indicate the votes were miscounted. Statistical analysis, manual count, and examination voting system can reveal problems with elections. In Bladen County, North Carolina, statistical discrepancies help investigators identify fraudulent absentee ballots in both the 2016 and 2018 election. In Philadelphia, an election judge repeatedly committed election fraud in multiple elections. It was discovered by a local election official who noted that the election results did not reconcile correctly and reported it to law enforcement. In Windham County, New Hampshire, voting machine counted in 2020 election resulted incorrectly due to dust in the machine and folds in the ballots. The incorrect counts were discovered in a hand recount and explained in a forensic audit. Okay, and then a little bit about smart election and what they represent, or smart legislation, and then we're done with the article. Smart election, the nonpartisan organization dedicated to making U.S. elections secure, accurate, accessible, inclusive, well-administrated, and publicly verifiable. Smart legislation is the action arm of the organization. So that, again, is what the investigation is, and they're saying that they noticed this discrepancy across the entirety of New York. All right, so that was wildly informative. Holy cow, I got a drink for this. Okay, let's go ahead, let's begin. Again, like I said, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. All right, so Conspiracy Angels telling me about Rockland County, New York. Right now, there's an investigation to looking into the 2024 presidential election and the U.S. Senate race between Kristen Gillibrand and the independent candidate. Can you tell us? Oh, okay. The first card that comes up is Reveal, the Hermit, the light. In the darkness, it'll reveal here. This is the Hermit. Okay, if this card comes up again, that means that something gets revealed. And here we have the voters. This is, if you guys been with me from the very beginning, you know this is the transition between the voters and the politician, them handing the power to the winner. That's what the two cards mean. All right, so Spirit Angel, tell me about Rockland County, New York. Rockland County, New York, the investigation to the U.S. presidential election of Harris, Vice President Harris, did not receive any votes from the county, but Donald Trump received 100% of the vote in this county. And Kristen Gillibrand, the U.S. Senator, the Democratic Senator, received 100% of the vote, whereas the independent candidate did not receive any percent of the vote in the Senate result. Can you tell us about what investigation they're going to find into Rockland County? Rockland County, New York. What's happening in Rockland County, New York, and the investigation to the 2024 U.S. presidential election and the Senate race there in New York? Tell me. I'm hearing a lot of ballots were missing. They're going to find missing ballots is what they're going to find. Because we have the page of stores. We had here someone comes up victorious, and they seem like they're the defeated, like people chose one specific side. But here in the background, you see, it looks all cloudy and dancy, but you don't recognize in the far distance that the storm coming. Whatever this is, that this winner has won, but it comes across, and it's the storm. The storm is this card. When I saw this card come down, I'm seeing they find a lot of ballots that were missing. They find missing ballots. And then here you have it, the Queen of Cups with containment. They find containment in something. There was something wrong with the containment, the machine. Something was contained. Something was contained, and it gets revealed publicly. And this is the two. One, you're doing it in the open. Just finding something in a container. And they found it because their eyes are looking at it. The question is, can they unlock it? Can they take the lid off? And can they unlock the missing ballots? Can they unlock the missing ballot? And this is public. And here underneath here you have the Tower card. What's behind the Tower card? We have here the Queen of Swords. This is Harris' card. This is the card that represents the Vice President. Well, the former Vice President. It's reversed. This is her presidential candidate bid. It's reversed. It's not going to be the thing that brings her into the presidency, but it's going to be a moment that sheds something in how she really lost the election. This is going to be a watershed moment. But again, two women are reversed here. Right? These two cards always represented Harris in every reading. And here you have moving from trouble into smoother, calmer water. This ignites something within her. The question is, can she move forward? She's at a standstill. So this is the Page of Pentacles. And it's interesting because remember I talked about earlier a while ago that there was going to be a revelation that's going to come out around late May. And it's going to put Harris in a very position where she's going to be paralyzed. She may be considering a run for politics or whatnot, but then information gets revealed and she's paralyzed because she goes through shock. So for example, the best way that I could describe this is, imagine this for example, this is from personal experience. Imagine this for a personal experience. Your intuition's going off that something's wrong, something did not happen. You believe adamantly that something else happened instead. And the different results have been shown. but something happened instead. But your intuition is what it's making you spin in circles and circles and circles, telling you that something's wrong. But everybody around you is saying, no, 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 there's nothing wrong. There's just, you're just crazy. And you end up telling yourself that you're crazy. To only find out later on, 2 or 3 years later, you find out that what you thought, what your intuition was telling you, was correct. That you were right. And after you had finally gotten to this point of acceptance and accepting the reality for what it is, despite what your intuition told you, then you get hit with this ball of shock that someone tells you, oh no, your intuition was correct. You were right all along. And now you go through this breakdown period where not only after you just went through all that recovery, went through all that effort to recover, you're now at a breaking point where now you have to not only recover from the fact that you thought you were crazy, but now you have to break down again in order to realize that you were never crazy to begin with, that you were right. You were right all along. And that sometimes can really break a person. It took me, on this YouTube channel, I went through this personal experience. It happened in 2020, and I didn't really recover until 2024. It took me 4 years to get out of this phase. It took me 4 full years to get out of this. But I got out. I escaped. It took me 4 years. The question is, can Harris escape? The question is, Harris may not run for president. She may not run, but I see more likely than not. If she was to be running for president, she would run for the vice presidency role alongside a specific individual, specifically a male. So she's going to run alongside a young male, and she's going to be the vice president. That is very much feels like the energy that she's going to get, because it almost feels to her like a reset. She has an opportunity to reset, recourse the direction of history, and say, listen, I'm in the White House. I'm not ready to become president just yet. And I think that's kind of like where she is right now. And it feels very much like that energy. But again, like I said, it feels very much like that's the card. The top of the deck here, we have the government, the Hierophant, the administration. This is Trump and his minions, right? The people bound down to the Pope. You have the Knight of Wands. He's not going to leave. So again, is Harris going to take a rightful place? Not yet, not yet. It's going to take a while. The question is, it's going to take a little bit. The question is, like I always said before, that as long as Biden stood in the White House, he would be the obstacle to Harris becoming president. And lo and behold, Biden stood within the White House, and she never became president under his term. And we said it all the time, if Biden left the White House, she would become president. Biden never left. And because of that, she could not be elected president. She had to assume the office of the presidency first. Then she assumed the role and the advantages of the incumbent, and therefore she would have been able to win the 2024 election. But because Biden was so adamant about not leaving, Harris could not win the 2024 election, and we would not be where we are now. Not saying it's Biden's fault. Biden would have never known that. But that was what always the cards said, that there was an opportunity, but it was a very unlikely opportunity. It's not one where he would have picked. So, the top of the deck here is, again, the Ace of Cups. Okay. This is the Rockland County vote. Now I want to take a look and ask about the U.S. presidential election and what they're going to find in Rockland County. And then we'll end off the reading with the Senate race, and then we'll talk about, what's it called? We'll talk about, it'll come to me. Anyway, besides the point. All right, so anyway, let's talk about the presidential election results. Oh, here's the Tower card again. All right, so Spirits and Angels, tell me about the U.S. presidential election. The U.S. presidential election, the 2024 election in Rockland County, New York. In Rockland County, New York, where they are currently investigating the discrepancy and anomalies that had occurred in Rockland County between Harris and Donald Trump. Show me the card that represents the vote tally, the original one, in Rockland County. Show me the real results of Rockland County for Harris. Okay, show me the real results for Donald Trump in Rockland County, New York. Okay, this is Donald Trump, this is Harris. This is the original results. What was the result that we got instead? What was the result that we got instead? Okay, And will we ever find out about the real result, the original result in the U.S. presidential election for Rockland County for president in New York? We have the Queen of Pentacles. And here you have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in the original result. That's going to help us learn. I mean, we're going to talk about what the results was, what we saw, what we got instead of the original result. Again, like I said, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. The first card on the bottom we have here, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 of Swords reversed. The 8 of Swords reversed is a very interesting card. And it's interesting because it represents Harris. This is Harris' side, this is Donald Trump's side. It represents a restriction, but not a restriction. There was a limitation to something, but there was no limitation. That's the thing. There was no limitation, things just went gone. Remember when I told you that they were going to find the result in a Senate race? In particular, I mentioned Senate, and particularly in Pennsylvania, that they were going to discover this. I don't know where Rockland County is in New York. I really don't know. But also, they're going to be investigating Pennsylvania soon. But I said also a congressional race as well. There was an anomaly there. But anyway, besides the point, there was the 8 of Swords here. And the 8 of Swords is reversed. And it's telling me here that there was not a limitation in the way you would think. There was a limitation in the coding system. And how I describe it is very simple. The coding system allowed candidate A and candidate B to get as many votes as possible. Whoever wins the most votes wins that county or wins the district or the state. Doesn't matter. But the way they did it is the candidate A had a limit of 1 million votes. Once the candidate reached 1 million votes, the vote tally just disappears. There is no more votes to count. They just go in, they enter into the system, but they never actually get added to the tally. So the Democrats, which is represented candidate A, received no more votes than a limitation in the coding network. Whereas the Republican candidate B had no limit in the coding system, and they're able to get as many of the vote as possible, as much of the vote as possible. There's no limit, there's no ceiling. That's the thing. That's how they did it. They didn't manipulate the votes by taking the ballots away because that would be too obvious. Instead, they manipulated the coding network within the machine, forcing a limitation on candidate A, whereas candidate B can get as much votes as possible. Candidate A, once it hits the ceiling, it cannot win that state. That's the thing. Now, going into Donald Trump's result in Rockland County, we have here there's uncertainty with the results, right? And here you have the Lovers. The Lovers card is unity within the county, right? This is unity within the county. This is the woman and the male coming together in unison, right? It is a challenge to the decision of the 2 of Pentacles. It's saying here that the original result that we got showed that there was unity within that. There was unity between man and woman to go out and vote 100% for Donald Trump for president in Rockland County. But that was anything but that. That was the determining factor. Whether or not they should or should not do it is a question of concern. This is what it showed here. It showed that there was a question. They were considering whether this was a good idea or not. But like it said across in the article, it said that there was anomalies not only within the county, but across the entirety of New York State. But this is the result that we got. This is the result that we saw. Let's take a look and see what the original results was. For Harris, we got the 3 of Cups. This is a very big card. This is women voters, right? Women that came out and voted. And there was, I'm seeing campaign volunteers. There's volunteers here in some way. This is the 8 of Pentacles. There were volunteers. I'm seeing a lot of volunteers here, a lot of activity for the Democrats in Rockland County. I don't know how Rockland County voted. We're going to find out in a minute. But Rockland County, in some way, there was a lot of Democratic support in this county. And here you have is on Donald Trump's side, he had the fool, the guy who was not cautious. He's the fool. He was not cautious about where he was going. And so the result kind of seemed more lopsided. It looked like more the energy is on Harris's favor than Donald Trump. I'm getting like 36, 32% for Donald Trump, and the rest of the vote goes to Harris for the presidential. Then here we have for whether or not we're going to get the result. This is in due time. This is the 10 of Pentacles. In time, we're going to know the result. There's going to be an age in here. So it's not going to be right away. We won't really know the full result of this election until years from now, until decades from now. We won't really know the official results. But let's take a look and find out how did Rockland County truly vote in New York. So Rockland County, New York, 2024 election. Let's see if I can pull up the results here. Well, obviously Rockland County results come in. Okay, let's see. Can I see the historic election result in the county? Report by race. Oh, come on. I have to do a Google Sheet now. Primary election. I don't want primary. Newest. Hold on. Newest. Okay. Go back to 2024. Report by race. I'm trying to find the election. I can't find it because they look like it's not 100% on Wikipedia or any other sources. I went to the actual Rockland. Oh, here it is. Found it. Okay, so it says here elected for president and vice president in Rockland County. It is Rockland County. It doesn't tell you this area. No, it doesn't tell you. I can't see this Rockland. It gives me the 2024 results, but doesn't tell me what district this is. Just for contest, Rockland. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to find it for you guys, but I have the article. I put it in the description below. There's a whole bunch of them. I can't find the county. There's no one posting the result of that county, so I can't tell you what it voted or how it voted in the 2024 election. Or if you guys know the data for that, just let me know in the comment section below. I'm sure you guys are going to be a lot easier finding it than me. All right, so let's go ahead and let's find out about the U.S. Senate. And let's see what the result is there. We're going to do this kind of the same setup. And see if it aligns with the presidential. Okay. That's right, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. So Spears Handles, tell me about the 2024 U.S. Senate election result in Rockland County, New York. They're investigating the anomaly between the U.S. Senate results, Christian Gillibrand, and which I'm going to add this back in case I don't know what it came out for. Christian Gillibrand versus the independent candidate in the U.S. Senate race in New York. Tell me about that, Spirit and Angel. This is the card that represents the U.S. Senate race. We have here the anomalies here. This is a little bit different. This is the sum of the cups. This is representing this race. Okay, so tell me about the original result of the U.S. Senate result in Rockland County. Christian Gillibrand. Christian Gillibrand, U.S. Senate race. Give me the original results. Okay, tell me what happened in the original result in the U.S. Senate was accurate. That result in the U.S. Senate was accurate, but we'll take a look. And the candidate who's running against Christian Gillibrand, the other person, whatever her name is, what is her result in the original election? What was her result in the U.S. Senate? Okay, top and bottom, this one. This one. Okay, so this is Christian Gillibrand. This is the other candidate who she was running against. So this is the original result from the 2024 U.S. Senate result in New York. Let's take a look and see what we got instead. What did we get instead for the U.S. Senate results in the state of New York for Christian Gillibrand? What did we get instead in terms of results? Okay. What about the other candidate, the independent candidate in New York, in the U.S. Senate race? And whether or not we'll find out the result of the U.S. Senate result and irregularities in this race, if there is any. Show me the card that best represents this. Will it come to light? Anything like that. I'm hearing no, but it will start something, is what I'm hearing. So I'm hearing that there's more irregularities and more anomalies that are taking place in the presidential than it is for the Senate. It's a little bit strange, but I don't know how to describe that. All right, so here we have Christian Gillibrand. I want to find out what the other lady is, just so I can call her by her real name. What is her name? I think it's Stair or something like that. Christian Gillibrand. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just looking for the lady's name just so I have it. I just saw it not too long ago. See my memory. Oh, Diane Steyer. There you go. Stair, whatever. Diane Stair. Okay, so we have the hangman for Christian Gillibrand. This is the result that we got. This is the result that we saw. This is the original result. Does it match, or does Spirit say it does not match? The first thing is we have the hangman reverse for Christian Gillibrand. We have here illumination of something, but something is not illuminated. That is full of strength, full of capacity. It's hanged upside down. So for the Democrat in the U.S. Senate. This is the results. And here you have it, the Queen of Pentacles. And here you have is Diane Steyer, or Diane Stair. This is the result that we got instead. I don't know how Rockland voted in the U.S. Senate was a Senate race, but it feels very much like it leans a little bit more to the independent than it does for Gillibrand. At least that's what the Spirit is saying. This is the intensity with the energy. At the time when this election took place, this was the results. The question is, I don't think the results actually matched this, but we're going to take a look. And this is the original result. This is what Spirit said is the real result. Again, for entertainment purposes only. Christian Gillibrand, then this is watching the election night unfold. This is the Three of Wands reverse. Right? This is the original result. Watching the election night unfold, and it's not going in your favor, or not watching it at all. Something's not being watched in her result tally. Here you have for Diane Stair, we have here the Ace of Cups. It's not saying whether or not they won the state or the race, but it's saying whether or not they won Rockland County. And here you have is a lot of support, again, for Diane Stair in Rockland County, New York. So this is the Ace of Cups. This is the original result, and no struggle. This is telling me here that Diane Stair actually did pretty well in Rockland County. Did pretty well in Rockland County, and it kind of shows here. Right? Christian Gillibrand did kind of poorly. So the result essentially is saying that Christian Gillibrand overperformed Democratic contender, presidential candidate Harris. Right? Overperformed her by a lot. And Diane underperformed Donald Trump by a lot. The reason why this is significant is because the election results do not match. This is Christian Gillibrand, who overperformed in the results, but yet the original result is saying that she was not the winner, or was not the one that most people wanted in that county, where Diane Stair, or Diane Steyer, was represented by the Queen of Pentacles, should have been the winner. Should have been the victor. But I'm hearing what could have been, should have been, right? And here you have about what was the original result. No struggle, a lot of support, enormous support from this county to vote for the independent candidate. Right? And the Queen of Pentacles is also, as you all know, when somebody's sitting on a chair, it means that they are the victor. Right? They are the winner. They are the one with the most momentum. When it's reversed, it means that they are lost. They are defeated. Right? They're gone. But this is the only one with the candidate in a chair. And this is for Diane Stair. This is telling me here that there was some sort of manipulation against the independent candidate. Right? And this is anomalies here. This is the first card that came up for the U.S. Senate. There were anomalies here. Whether or not we're going to find a result, we're going to find it right now. Will come to light. We have the world upside down, a hidden underground network from the Emperor, from the machine. Yeah, there will be an underground network that they're going to be finding. The question is underground network around a specific individual, how people get elected. The underground network is what it's going to be called. So, will it come to light? It seemed to be that the presidential seemed to be at least the way to something bigger. This is leading the way to something bigger. Like I said before, it came with the Ten of Pentacles, means that it takes time, takes a couple generations before we actually find out the real, true results. So, that's what we're getting. Yes, so we covered it all, I think. I want to ask, what else are they going to see? Oh, I want to ask, will this trigger any other recount? Now, if you guys want to watch any other videos in regard to the recount and stuff like that, I'll put them in the description and the link below if you are interested. Okay. Okay, so Spirits and Angels, tell me about, will the Rockland County vote in New York and the presidential anomalies and the U.S. Senate anomaly, will it trigger a recount across many states, many counties, many congressional races to take a relook at the results and the counting ballots in these states? Or will it just be one thing, that's all? Can you tell us, Spirit? Will the results be looked at in other states, other counties, because of what happened in terms of the anomaly that occurred in Rockland County, New York, in the 2024 election? Okay, we have the devil. Okay, interesting. This card comes off here. This card flew off. The bottom of the deck we have here is we have the Lovers card. This is the Biden-Harris administration. This is unison between people, and here you have the Five of Pentacles, walking away from something. What are you walking away from? The Page of Cups, wishful thinking. So walking away from wishful thinking. Then we have here the Lovers. What is in unison? We have here the bigger picture. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. This is the guy looking at the bigger picture. It's reversed. This is the smaller detail. We're looking at the smaller detail, but he's looking at the bigger picture. This is unison in the smaller picture. That's what it means. My apologies. So it's saying that the detail is in the smaller detail. So it's saying to find everything, find your case, it's going to be the smaller you go, the bigger you'll be able to find out what really happened. Go small to figure it out for the big one. Here you have it, the devil reverse. Right? We're asking whether or not, like, it's going to trigger a recount in other states, whether they're going to investigate or look at this. This is something has been unlinked. Something has been unlinked. Something has been controlled, has been dominated. It has been unlinked. But it's going to be a very slow process. A very slow process, which is represented by the Chariot card. And because of that, this is represented by the Ten of Pentacles. It's going to get very close to the midterms. Very close to the 2026 midterms. And here you have at least a path of least resistance. This is not feeling restricted, not feeling controlled, but there will be, if this process was to play out, it's going to be a very slow process. It's not going to be very long. Like I said, it takes years. It doesn't take a couple of days. So Harris, no, will not assume the presidency on this alone. Here you have it, the Page of Wands reversed. The Page of Wands reversed is a new leader. We could have had a new leader, but we didn't because this process was slow. So, what would the results be? The results would be that we could have had a new leader, but instead we didn't because the process was so slow that even though democracy works, there's a cost to democracy, and this is the cost of democracy. So, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting, unfortunately. Let me just ask the index cards. I just want to see what the index cards have to say, because I know it's not tarot, but it's a little bit more on the nose. So let's see if they have any words for us. And then we'll end off today's reading. If you guys don't know, color cards means major arcana, white color means minor arcana. Okay, Spiritual Angels, tell me about Rockland County election vote tally, recounted election results in Rockland County, New York. Tell me about this. The presidential and the U.S. Senate results was indicated there was anomalies that had occurred. Can you tell me about this, Spirit? Tell me about this. Oops. Tell me about this. Okay. Well, tell me to take a blue. Okay, they're telling me to take a dark blue. Okay. Tell me to take the one in front of it, so we're going to do this one. This yellow. And then telling me this yellow. Okay, let's see what Spirit has to say about the results in Rockland County. We have here all that can and will be. Okay, that is blue. That means I speak. All that can and will be. What do I know on the foundation? Which is the recycled timeline shift. We shift backwards. Remember I said we went back into our original timeline. This is our foundation. Things shifting. What do I know? My foundation is uneven. It's shifting, right? Earthquake. What is in on my foundation? What is the overall energy? This is white. What represents transform, right? This was transform. It was not reverse. It was transform. So something is transforming. What is transforming? What do I know confidently? What is I do? What action will be taken upon this? We have here the clock strike 12. It is still too early. So still too early to tell what's going to come of this situation. Alright guys, thank you for watching. This is way too long of a video. Thank you. Have a good night. I love you. Peace out.